This program is brought to you by All Farm Insurance. Home, car, life. You're with good friends with All Farm. OilCon, bringing energy to your future with clean burning fossil fuels. And by viewers like you. A Mundane Roadshow is a presentation of the Public Broadcasting Network.
Hi, we're here in Bismarck, North Dakota, an extremely average small American town where we have opened our doors to ordinary people to bring us their everyday items for us to appraise. But enough of that. Let's get right to it and see what common items we can find in this week's Mundane Roadshow.
I went to the gas mart about 3 months ago to get a soda. I didn't think much of it at the time, but when I got home and looked at the change the attendant gave to me, this was it.
Just right there in your pocket?
That's right.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about this item. This is an American dollar, also known as a one, a greenback, a single, and other various nicknames, including a Washington. It's so called because as we look on the obverse side of this bill, we see a picture of George Washington, illustrated by Gilbert Stuart. Now, interestingly, you see these numbers here? Do you know what that is?
I have no idea.
That is a serial number. Every bill has one, but more importantly, every bill has a different one.
That's unique.
It is. Now, let's look on the back side, the reverse side of this bill. We see a pyramid with a floating eye, some Latin text, and there's a presidential seal and some very ornate art, which give this piece a very regal look and feel. Now, let's look at the condition of this bill. This bill does have some wear and tear and some discoloration, but I don't think that's too much of a problem. I've actually seen bills go through the wash and still retain their value. The average bill has a circulation span of about 21 months. I would estimate this to be in the 15 to 17 month range. So, what do you think this is worth?
I have no idea.
Well, I think you're going to be rather surprised. On the secondary market, I'd say this is worth about $1.
Wow.
Well, this is quite a spectacular find. Have you ever considered selling it?
I am now.
This rock was in my garden when I bought my house about 10 years ago, and for the last little while I've been using it to weigh down a tarp.
And it's just been sitting there in your yard all these years?
Yes, it has.
Have you taken it to a dealer to have it appraised?
Yes, I did about 7 years ago.
And what did he say?
Not much, but he said it was granite.
Well, he was right. It is granite. Did the appraiser give you a value for this rock?
Yes, he did.
How much did he offer you?
About 3 cents.
3 cents? And that was 7 years ago?
Yep, about 7 years ago.
Well, let me say that the price he offered was a fair market price for granite in this condition. I would say that for this rock alone, it's probably worth 7 or 8 cents.
Wow.
Aren't you glad you didn't sell it 7 years ago?
Oh, absolutely.
This is an item that my grandmother received in 1902 while she was a Christian missionary in China. When she passed on, she gave it to my mother, and my mother in turn gave it to me.
Well, to tell you the truth, I don't think that this item is that old. Excelsior, more commonly known as packing peanuts, wasn't introduced into the American public as a polystyrene foam packing material.
Well, I bought a car a while back, and underneath the back seat was this item, this cube. And I called the owner, and he said that he didn't want it. So it's been sitting in my garage for the last 10 years.
So it's just sat there the whole time?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Do you have any idea what this item is?
I have no idea.
Okay. This was a photo box. They were a very popular way to display pictures at the time. See, each side of the cube would hold one picture, and it was a very attractive way to show off your family. But what I find especially mundane about this item is what's inside the cube.
Oh. Well, I don't see anything.
Precisely.
No, there's nothing there.
Oh, see, now that's where you're wrong. The inside of this cube is filled with air. See, our atmosphere is composed of about 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, then you've got argon, carbon dioxide, and trace amounts of other gases fill up the rest. And we're literally swimming in this stuff. But you say this has sat there for about, what, 10 years?
10 years now, yeah.
And in that amount of time, have you ever opened it up?
Oh, it opens up?
Well, heavens, yes. That's how you would get the pictures.
Well, how does it...
You know, I wouldn't want to open it up. Here's what it is. Over the last several years, our atmosphere has taken a serious hit in air quality. You know, corporations like OilCon, they burn fossil fuels, clean energy, right? Okay, but the unwanted byproduct of that is all the pollutants that are released into the atmosphere.
And that's bad.
Well, at this rate, we'll all be dead in a few years.
From what?
Lack of clean air.
So...
Well, you have this cube. Have you ever thought of selling the air inside this cube?
Well, it sounds like from what you're talking about, I better keep this. For my kids might need this.
That's probably for the best, because at today's market value, at auction, you would probably receive nothing for the air inside this cube, but I would hold on to it just in case.
Well, so you're saying that eventually the air inside this cube may be worth something?
Eventually, yes.
Oh, okay.
Unless the robot uprising destroys humanity first.
Yeah.
Well, that's all we have for this week's edition of Mundane Roadshow. Be sure to come back next week to see our appraisers talk to everyday people about their mundane items. Who knows, that average crud hole of a town just might be yours.
I brought these grass clippings to be appraised. The guy said it had cost me $3 to leave them at the green dump. Good news is, they charge by the truckload.
This funnel's worth 27 cents.
So I brought this old comic book. The guy appraised it, said it's worth only $2, but he looked like kind of a nerd and was really keen to buy it off of me for $2. You know what? I'm gonna sell it to him for $5. I'm gonna totally cheat this dude out. I win.
I brought in the C-clamp to get it appraised. The guy told me I spent more money in gas getting here than it's worth. And then he got kind of mean to me. I don't think he's part of the show.
It's a bag of bags.